Hello, welcome to JoJo's Bakehouse. I'm Ginny, and today I'm going to be starting with you this beginner baker's course. So this is going to be week one. Now I decided to do this because I see so many people looking to want to get into baking and just get really confused where to start. I've got scared in the past when mistakes have been made, so I'm hoping that together we can get you through all of this. And I'm always available in each week. I am going to put up these videos, and don't worry about adding comments. I am more than happy to help along the way. That's what this is for. So, a few things that you're going to need. A mixer, obviously of any description, you can use a hand mixer. I will tell you as we're going along, if you're using a hand mixer, what to be very, very careful of. So I will try and incorporate the two. You also need some spoons, measuring spoons. That's really important, otherwise you're not going to end up getting the correct measurements. So you have to have those. I've obviously got my cupcake tin because week one we are beginning with cupcakes and basic buttercreams. So we'll do a cupcake tin, a little fairy cake tin, a very, very narrow now, and not very deep at all. I don't want to use that on a muffin tin. So you need to get yourself a muffin tin like this, and then some cupcake cases. There we are. Right, now I'm going to go through with you on every single step of this. The recipes I am going to put in a separate little post on the side so that you know A, what to get it as your shopping list, and two, what your recipe is, and then you can write it down and have it with you as you're going along. Now, in my mixer, this is going to upset me. In my mixer, I've normally got a lovely creaming paddle. So, let's get this. This is my creamer paddle. This is my lifesaver. I absolutely love it. Now, as you're going along in baking, you might want to get yourself one of these. It really saves you having to stop and keep scraping it down. But because I'm going to do this with you, I'm going to ditch it, which upsets me. And I'm going to use what you would have. So we're going to do this really together. So let's get rid of that. Now, I'm going to begin today with vanilla cupcakes. Just the basic of vanilla cupcakes. So here is our ingredients. Now, cupcakes, vanilla cupcakes, so simple. Everything weighs the same. So I've got flour, and I've got 175 grams. I've got caster sugar, 175 grams. Now this is caster sugar, it's finer. Granulated sugar is a little bit too thick, and it can sink, and it's just not really recommended. Okay, I have heard people use icing sugar. So if you haven't got it, you could try that. I haven't done it myself, but caster sugar is really the go-to. And then I've also got butter, which again, you're never going to guess, it's 175 grams. So I've used the baking margarine. So this isn't just regular margarine, this is Stork baking margarine. And the reason I use that is because it's so fluffy, it's softer and easier for me to work with. Now you can use regular block butter, absolutely fine. Unsalted, don't use salt. And then make sure that it is of a consistency where you can push it. See? I can squeeze into that there easily, and that's what we're looking for. If you're pushing really, really hard, I've actually got some butter here for our buttercream in a bit. Look how hard that is. Look, you can't make a cupcake with that. Your machine isn't going to cut through that. So if it is block butter, has to be like this. Just pop it into the microwave, chop it up into cubes like I've done just there, pop it into the microwave, 10-second burst, take it out, give it a stir, 10-second burst again. You don't want it to separate, you just want it to go like this. So that's butter, and that's important. Grab my tea towel, being as I've just done that. It's important because the way we are going to put these ingredients in, it's so simple. It's going to take us about 3 minutes to make these cupcakes, okay? It's really that easy. But where we're getting our air from is the butter and the sugar together. So this butter is really important. This is where you need to make sure you've got this right. Now, I don't know where you're from. Where I am at the moment, it's just cold. In fact, it's about to snow. So my bowl here, I've got a metal bowl. My metal bowl is freezing cold on the outside. Now, I'm not saying that my house is freezing cold, but my bowl, it's just, they're meant to be, metal bowls are meant to be really cold. So this isn't going to help me. If I put this into here, the butter hits the side and it sticks to the outsides of this and it's not going to get that fluffiness. So I've preheated my oven ready for my cupcakes. So I'm going to pop this into my preheated oven for about a minute just to warm the outsides of this bowl. So hang on. Okay, in it goes. Now that bowl is in there, we want to be able to just take it back out again. I don't want it so hot, because if it's too hot to pick up, you've left it in there too long. We just want to get a slight temperature on the outside, and that is going to make this process so easy. My eggs, I've got 3 eggs here. Now if you were to weigh those, they'd be 175 grams as well. So I always like to crack my eggs out first and leave them on the side just so that they come up a little bit more to room temperature. We've then got vanilla. I've got 1 teaspoon of vanilla in here and 2 tablespoons of milk. Now, always make sure that you use vanilla extract, not essence. Essence isn't the right thing. So you want extract. Right, I think that's had long enough. Lovely. Look, I can hold the sides here. That's the way we want it. If it does get a little bit too warm, just wait. It's going to come back down really quickly. It's not a problem. So, yeah, back onto the vanilla extract. You really need to have that. You can use vanilla bean if you want to be a little bit posher with it, but just regular vanilla extract is absolutely fine. You can get it in most supermarkets, and if you're really brave you can make your own, but I'm not that brave and I don't do it. Right, are you ready? Let's go. Butter straight in, and the sugar straight in there. Put this on and we're going to whisk it round. So to start with, make sure that you put it on the lowest speed. Just give me 1 sec. Okay, so now we're going to put this on lowest speed, like I said, just while we initially incorporate it. And if you're using a hand whisk at this point, just go straight in on the smallest speed that you've got. I know that it's a bit more vigorous with a hand whisk, but it does make a difference. Okay, I'm going to keep showing you what I've got here. There we are. Now with the heat at the side, you can see that's not sticking, but the cold is beginning to hit. Because this is cold inside, it is starting to want to stick. So now we're going to pop this down, and we're going to put this on a very fast speed. Now I can't do that on camera, because if I do this on camera, you're going to be deaf. So I am going to turn this off for a second, and I'm going to leave this for 2 minutes on the highest speed that your mixer will do, and then I'll come back to you and show you what mine looks like. So let's come back in 2 minutes. Right, okay, it's coming together. It's not quite as light as I'd like it. I want it even lighter than this, but because I haven't got my other paddle, we're going to have to use a spatula here. There we are. And take it off the sides, all the way round. Take it off those sides. Pop it back on and do the very same thing again. So we're going to give it another minute at a really high speed again. Right, we're done. So this has really come down in colour. So it's kind of white with just that tinge of yellow. It's so light and fluffy, and there is your air for your cupcakes. This is really important. Okay, so now that we're happy with that, there we go. We're just going to put everything in. Really simply. Get yourself a tea towel. I've got one. Pan in, go with the 3 eggs. I know other recipes don't do it this way, but don't worry, I do it this way. And then I've got the 175 grams of plain flour and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Now you can do 175 grams of self-raising flour and leave out the baking powder, not a problem. But for the purposes of, just in case people haven't got that, I've done 175 grams of plain flour and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Right, and also the 1 teaspoon of vanilla and the 2 tablespoons of milk. It's all going in, everything. I'm going to get a tea towel and put it over the top, because otherwise we are going to get covered. the lowest speed you've got. Now, if you were using a hand mixer for the butter, I would put it all in now, and I would use the spatula just to bring it all back in together, okay? So going around the sides, cut through the middle, around the sides, cut through the middle until it's all completely incorporated. That mixer, that hand mixer, is just going to make everything too fast. You're going to knock all the air out. Right, here we go. Now we are as simple as that. I'll talk to you about the ingredients more on this than actually as long as it took. So here we are. Now I've still got powder flour around the outside, so take that round. Now as you would, come round, cut through the middle. Come round, cut through the middle. Now I can see in the middle there, the egg hasn't fully incorporated. I'd rather do this bit by hand. There we go. We are just mixing this up. Okay, round the outside, cut through the middle. There we are. Now, so long as when you cut through, you can't see any slime of the egg, we are done. Now we have to put it in cupcake cases. There we go, that was simple. So here we are. I've got my cupcake cases here. And let me get my spoons. Oh, they're there, oh well. Right, now I've got regular dessert spoons here, all right? I've only got two because I'm using one to scoop. So take a heaped amount and put it in, okay? Again, a heaped amount, ooh, and put it in. And they all should look around about the same. So long as you're taking that heaped amount on each one, they're all going to come out the same, okay? Now, we're going to put these into the oven. Now, a little bit about the oven. Everybody has a different oven, and everybody's ovens act differently. So, I've got a fan-assisted oven, so that's that whirling noise you can probably hear. Now, with a fan-assisted oven, it just means that you don't have to have it up as high. So, with mine is on 160 degrees for a fan-assisted oven. Okay, that's degrees Celsius. Now, if you haven't got a fan-assisted oven, put it up to 170. So it's just as easy as that, okay? If you're not 100% sure, get yourself an oven thermometer and pop it in, and it'll tell you what temperature your oven is at. And that may help you if you think that there's a problem with your bakes from your oven. And then you can just play with the dial to get it to the desired temperature that you should have on the thermometer. Right, we're nearly done. These are going to go into the oven for 18 minutes to start with. Now don't open that oven, I'm going to talk you through what it's going to look like. So it's very difficult, oh sorry, making lots of noise, very difficult. If you open that oven up too soon, they could sink. So I'm going to do some fun washing up and then come back to you as soon as this is ready to come out of the oven. So we'll pop this in the oven, I'll see you in a bit. Right, I've done my dishes and I'm now going to start buttercream with you. So again, I've started off with a warm bowl. Butter in the buttercream is essential. The state that we make this butter in is what is going to lead to a really lovely, super silky buttercream. So I'll always start my buttercreams in the same way, every single one. Okay, so my butter, I showed it to you earlier and it was really rock solid. Here is just where we want it. Now I just put that in the microwave for 10 seconds and then another 5 seconds and it's gone exactly the way I want. Now when I put it into this bowl, because the bowl's warm as well, that is going to prevent it from sticking to the sides and that's going to be exactly the way we want it to be. Back with this paddle. I prefer my other one. Right. Now you will see that on the outsides are starting to melt. Don't worry. What we're going to do is just pop this over the top because it might splash out a little bit. It's not separating completely, there is only just a little bit. And that is really going to help us get that spin to be able to get this really whipped up, lovely butter. Now I've used 230 grams of unsalted butter for this. A lot of people use salted butter. That is personal preference. I can't tell you what to use. It's really down to your own taste. I don't like that really strong, harsh taste of salt. Now I think I'm just sensitive to salt. A lot of people don't taste it at all. I can taste it. I don't like it. So you can use salted butter, you can use unsalted butter, or you could use half and half if you just want to cut through some of that sweetness. So 230 grams of this correct textured butter, and then I've got 500 grams of icing sugar. Make sure you sieve your icing sugar because you don't want lumps in there, and that's just on the side waiting. Right, time to turn this up. I'm just going to show you quickly what mine looks like. So there we are. Okay. That was on the low and it's just started to spin it round. Now we're going to turn this up to the full speed that it can do, okay? Or if you're using a hand mixer, go the full speed, and we're going to do this for 5 minutes. Now I will come back to you in between because we're going to have to scrape down. So but all in all, this is going to take 5 minutes. So I'll leave this on a high speed for about 2 minutes, come back to you, and then we'll scrape it down. So I'll see you in a moment. Right. It wants to stick to the side. So this is the way it is. So we're now going to go in and unstick it. Sorry, noisy. Okay, and we're going to do the very same thing again and go back on. This is a long process to get this butter the way we want it to be, but if you don't do this, this is where it fails and it can go gloopy and funny. So we have to do this. So I will see you again in 2 minutes. Okay, time to scrape down again. It's doing the same thing, but it's getting lighter each time. Look at the colour change that's happening in that. And this is what we want. So, back to it again. We will get there. And again, 2 minutes. Right, nearly. It's looking so good. One more. Okay, the colour is really dropping down on this, and this is what's going to give you that really white buttercream as well. If you don't bring it, all it's doing is putting air into this butter, and the more air you put in it, the more it's going to melt that icing sugar. It's really got something to dissolve into when it's really silky smooth, and also it's going to give you that colour as well. If you leave it harder, you're going to get a horrible texture, and also you're going to get that yellow coming through. So this is really important. This is going to be the secret to your buttercream. So off we go again. I'm thinking this might be the last time. So I'll see you in a sec. Okay, I'm happy. I'll let you finish now. Here we are. Look at this. Now it is so light. It's almost as if you could take a spoon and eat that, but we wouldn't because it's butter. But it's so mousse-like, and this is exactly what you need as your base. It's not hard in any way. It's so smooth, and the colour of it has dropped considerably. So now it's time for the icing sugar. Now a lot of people, we are going to go on to this in another tutorial, okay? So don't worry about the ins and outs of this. Further on, I think it's week 3 or week 4, we are going to go into smooth buttercream. But I always start the same way. I'm going to take this now, put it in, and I do this in 3 lots. So there we go. That's my first third. I'm going to put this over the top, and we're going to put this buttercream on the lowest speed that you have got. The reason for that is it doesn't put all of those air pockets in. We needed to get the air in the butter, and we've done that. You've seen we've done that. It's so light and aerated and moussey. We no longer need to be pumping it full of air. It's done its job. All we're doing now is stirring in that icing sugar. So lowest speed. This is what keeps you from having air. That's it. Tea towel over the top because it's going to chuck up. Alright? So lowest speed, and we're just going to leave it there for around about a minute or so, or until I'm brave enough to lift the tea towel off the top without looking like a ghost. Hang on. There we go. Okay, so it's just bunching together for the moment. And then it slowly smooths out if you watch it. So it looks like it's going into lumps, and then it's slowly smoothing itself back out again, which is exactly what we want. Never panic with these things. They're all fixable anyway, but this is exactly the way you want it to be. Don't worry about that change in the look of it. So that's going around absolutely lovely now. I'm happy enough that we can add the next lot. We've put so much air in there. A lot of the work's been done already. See? Look how smooth that's looking now. So we want to scrape down, sorry. Take it round, scrape those sides. When everything's stuck on the side, it's not doing you any favours. Just on your paddle, push that off. Put your second third of this in. There we go. And we're going to do the very same thing all over again. Tea towel, lowest speed, and just wait. Right, that's had another minute or so, and it's getting thicker. Move this jug. So we're going to scrape this down again, and it's harder to scrape now. It's getting thicker. That's the icing sugar doing its thing and thickening it up. So then across the top again. Right, and then at this point, I don't want to be adding anything else fluid-wise for the moment. At this point now, I'm going to, before I put my last lot in, I'm going to add my vanilla. So I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. And then that little bit that I've put in there is just going to loosen it slightly and allow me to put the last lot in. So, same as before. There we go, let's throw it in. Put that away. Right, where's my tea towel? Here. You should be used to this now. Here we go again. So, lowest speed, and we're off again. I'm going to leave that buttercream for a second because our cakes are done. So my cakes have taken the 18 minutes. Here we are. And here we go. Look, all completely done. Now, to make sure that they're cooked, touch the top and it springs back. It's almost like you're hitting sponge. You can feel and you can kind of hear a noise back. When you do that and it hits back, then they are done. But the 18 minutes should be absolutely fine on this. Also, if you're not 100% sure, you can take a cocktail stick and just pop it into the middle. Now, I haven't got a cocktail stick, I have a knife. So if I put a knife through the middle and bring it out, there's nothing on that. There's a couple of crumbs, but crumbs are absolutely fine because it's showing it's crumb, it's sponge. But on there, there is no raw cake mixture. So we're done. Now we just need to leave these to cool. So I'm going to pop these behind me. And there we go. Right, you've made cupcakes. Well done. Now, our buttercream is a blob. Here we are. Right, at this point now, it is fairly thick. And there's not really a lot you're going to be doing with that. So we're going to scrape those sides down again. Okay, and then this is where I'm going to add the smallest bit of liquid. Now then, when it comes to this, you've probably seen in recipes, you can add so many arrays of things to this. You could add milk, you can add cream, you can add condensed milk. There are so many things that people tell you can add. I just use plain old water, okay? Now I used to use previously boiled water that had cooled, but I now find that actually if I use boiling water, it's going to cut through those bubbles in there again, and it just seems to make it silkier. So, a tablespoon of boiling water over the top of the buttercream, and just turn it on. You will hear it kind of squidging around, but that's good, and it seems that that heat just comes through that buttercream and really does just smooth it off and finish it so much better. It cuts through it a lot easier. So I love that. Now, if you're in a really, really hot country and you weren't at that really stiff stage of the butter, then you don't need to add the extra bit of water. The water really is down to what your buttercream looks like. So if your buttercream is looking smooth and soft anyway, don't add any. If it only looks a little bit, start with adding half a tablespoon first, just to make sure that you're not swamping it too much. So just keep looking at it. You'll know by looking at it and what I show you how well it's done and if it really needs anything. Right, I'm going to show you how this looks. So this looks like really, really smooth, lovely buttercream. It's not got any air pockets in it. Your friends will be jealous that you've got buttercream without air flying through it. There we go. That is so smooth. There we go. It's really light. Okay, we've taken the colour right down, so it's a lovely colour on there. It's really light, it's easy to pipe, that's going to hold its shape really well. So that is excellent. Now I like to just give mine an extra little whiz around, so that's really your choice. You can keep it like this. I like to just make sure that right at the end I just let mine have about 3 or 4 minutes where it just spins around and just does its own thing. So that's really up to you. I'm going to put mine back on there now for another 2 minutes, scrape it down, and then another 2 minutes, and then it's completely done. And we're going to put that to one side and we'll be able to pipe those cupcakes with it when we're done. Right, I'm happy, I'm finished. So now I'm going to show you a really easy trick of how we can turn the vanilla into chocolate buttercream. So now you've got your vanilla buttercream here. Just scrape all of that off like that. Okay. Let's take, I'm going to try and half this mixture off just to show you then how to turn vanilla into chocolate buttercream. And then if you just want to make chocolate, you just go through the whole stages of what we've just done, and then we add the cocoa powder. And if you just want to make vanilla, this is exactly how we've got it. So leave that to one side. Right, so this is so simple. I add vanilla to all of my buttercreams, always, no matter what flavour. Obviously I was out orange, but I always add it if I'm using a caramel one, if I'm using vanilla, if I'm using cream cheese, anything, usually, unless it's got a specific flavour like strawberry or lemon or any of those, I always add vanilla. I love the vanilla, it brings out the chocolate as well. So we've got our vanilla base of our buttercream here. And then I've got some cocoa powder. I'm going to add, this is half of it, so I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of cocoa powder into there, like that. And then I need more water, so I'm going to add another half a tablespoon of the boiling water for the moment. Oh, it helps if I put a paddle on. Otherwise nothing's going to happen. Right. And we're just, again, lowest speed and just let that go. And this is going to turn into chocolate buttercream. So now you're going to learn how to make your vanilla cupcakes. You've also got your vanilla buttercream, chocolate buttercream, and as soon as I've cleaned this down, we're going to make some chocolate cupcakes. And then this week you're going to have learned 2 lots of buttercream and 2 lots of cupcakes, and you're going to have known more than what you realised that you were going to. It is really simple. It's just making sure that you get those first tips that make things correct. So you want to make sure that butter is always of the right consistency, always of the right temperature. Warm the bowl on the side if you need to, just to aid it along. Making sure that butter for the buttercream is really whipped up, and the same with the vanilla cupcakes. That sugar and that butter to start with must have air running the whole way through it, and you're going to be there. And then next week, when we go into week 2, we're going to take these sponge recipes and we're going to turn them into cakes. So then you'll have the idea of the basis of making the sponge, and then we're going to turn them out into the cakes there. So, and we're also going to throw in a few more advanced buttercreams, because I know you're going to get this really quickly. So here we are. Here we have chocolate buttercream. Right. Now the recipe for this, as you know, we've just done it all together, but the actual quantities, if you want to make a full batch of each, then I will put in the recipes. So I won't be dividing it. I would give you enough to make a full batch of the vanilla and then a full batch of the chocolate. Right, here we are. Chocolate buttercream. Look how smooth and silky that is. Now I know I've got vanilla on there, but I'll just stir it all in, it's all the same. There we go. And again, I don't want to waste any, so I'm just going to pop all this into here, and then with a spoon I'll give it a stir, mix it all in, and then we are done with our 2 buttercreams. So I'm going to put some cling film over the top of these, because it's really important you put cling film over them just to make sure they don't go crusty and hard on the top. Leave them on the side, and then wash this up. We're going to make some chocolate cupcakes, and then we're going to decorate them. So I'll see you in a moment. Right, just another tip with these cupcakes. Now I can hold the tin. Just take them out, because if you leave them in here to dry too much, to cool, this is where sometimes this peel can come back on the cupcake cases, which we don't want. So remove them as quick as you can so that they can properly cool, because like moisture, see in the bottom here, moisture happens and then it just forces them to come out of the cases, which we don't want. So there we go, let's pop these to one side. Just there. And then we're going to prep up now, ready for chocolate. Right, we're back on again. So you need a big jug for this one, and we have quite a lot of ingredients. Now I'm not going to make things really easy. We're not going to make the same style of cupcake for the chocolate. We're not using butter for this one. This is an oil-based cupcake, which we're going to be using buttermilk for. Now I don't buy my own buttermilk because I don't use that much of it, and when you buy it in a carton I just end up throwing it away and don't like to waste. So I make my own. So I'm just going to grab some lemon juice and we'll show you how to make it. Okay, I have lemon juice. Now I've got 2 tablespoons of milk in here, and to that I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of lemon juice. And then we're just going to leave it alone. If there's a little bit more, it's not a real problem. There we go, that just went slightly over. Right, give it a little stir around and put that to one side. We always start with that so that it's giving it a chance to curdle up, which is what we're looking for. No need to be heating this time because there's no butter. So we're going to do dry first and then we're going to add the wet. Now I've got my ingredients written down here because this one doesn't just come from my memory. So I'm going to start with the same again with the flour. I have used plain flour, which is all-purpose flour. You can use self-raising flour. So I have got 175 grams of plain flour with a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder and a 1/2 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. So If you haven't, if you're going to use self-raising flour, just take that baking powder off, okay? Right, and then I have got with sugars here. I have got 150 grams of caster sugar and 100 grams of light brown sugar. In they go. That light brown sugar with the chocolate gives a lovely, lovely flavour. I've also got 55 grams of cocoa powder, and that's going in as well. And then I'm left with my wet ingredients. So this is just going to get mixed around. So what have I put? There it is. Right, this will just get mixed around now, just to make sure everything's fully incorporated. So let me grab a tea towel. I want to get a clean one. Right, clean tea towel definitely over the top of this one, because it is just going to chop back up. Hold it down at the sides on the lowest one that you've got, and just leave it there. Put that to one side. Right, and then I have got 2 large eggs. I have 100 ml of vegetable oil, or any flavourless oil, and 125 grams of previously boiled water, and a teaspoon of vanilla. So that's those. Now, with the liquid, you can weigh it if you like. It's pretty much in the much. So if you're getting certain ones like 125 and you can't quite get that measurement on the side of the jug, just weigh it on the scales and that'll be absolutely fine. Right, let's turn that off. Making sure it looks like it is, just take the spatula right at the bottom and just make sure that everything at that bottom part is completely incorporated, which it is. And then we're just going to put all this in. Eggs, water, oil, vanilla. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, look, we've got a lovely skin across the top of that, and it looks like it's all curdled and gone funny. That's what we want. So in go those 2 tablespoons of milk, which is buttermilk. If you buy your own, that's fine. And then we're just gonna let this go again. Again, so simple. This is what we need a jug for. This mixture is really wet, so you won't be picking it up with a spoon. You're going to do a lot better pouring it into a jug and then bringing it into the cases. So bring the cases forward. Same as before, my oven is at 170 degrees on, no, 160 on a fan, or 170 on a non-fan assisted oven. Same as before. Right. Oh look. And you can really smell that chocolate. This is so good. Right then. Like I said, this is so wet. Let's try and get this over to there. Right. I don't know if that's going to fall. We'll see. Use your spatula, get right in through those bottom parts. Again, the same as before, round and down through the middle. You have to get the bottom of this pan, this bowl, sorry, so that everything is incorporated. And then look, there's nothing nicer than that. Looks so good, but very messy. And make sure you get everything out. There we go. What a mess I've made. Okay, I'm going to grab a spoon. And then we're going to pour these in. So we're going to go halfway. So all the way through halfway. These are going to go into the oven as before for about 18 minutes. And then we'll come back. Leave them to cool, the same. As soon as you're able to pick up the tray, touch the tray, get them out of the tray and onto a cooling rack. Really important, because otherwise those sides can just unstick and you don't want that. And then we're going to have the fun of piping them. And you've got cupcakes 2 ways and buttercream 2 ways as well. Right. Last one. There we go. Ooh, ooh. A little bit more in that one. Just having a look, making sure they look about right. And like I said, halfway, because that baking powder will make them rise, not baking powder, the bicarb will make them rise just that little bit more. This is a really fluffy mixture, this one. So let's pop this in the oven and be back in 18 minutes. Okay, our cupcakes are done. Let's get them out. Here we go. There we are. Put a little bit too much in this one. If you can see, these dome up a little bit more, but they will sink down as they rest. So there we are. Lovely. And they are so soft. We've done the same thing again. Push to the top, put in a knife, comes out clean. Let's do it again for you there. This one. Perfect. Right, so here is our cupcakes that we just made. I've taken 2 out of the cases so that you can see. I'm just going to pull these apart here. They are lovely and fluffy on the inside there, and when we push them, they're ever so soft, so they're really good. So nice. Now we're going to put some of the buttercream on the top. Right. If you don't have a piping bag, just use a freezer bag and put the corner of this into a glass instead. Right. Put your hand into it, whatever you're using, right down towards the bottom, put your hand in and hit the bottom of the glass. Then take the outside and push them over. And doing that, you've got the hole going right the way through. We don't want any air pockets in this. So then we're going to take the buttercream, and I don't take a big spoon, take a small spoon, and put it into the bottom. And more. And we're going to keep pushing that down now. So we put quite a bit in, and then with the back end of the spoon, push down. And that way we're going to push all of those little separations of pockets there out. Good again. And again the back end of the spoon, and we're just pushing it all down to fill the entire bag without those pockets. Right, here we go. And then finally, you pick up the bag and then just push it down like that. And as you can see on the side here then, there isn't any marks where you've got pockets of air through the side, okay? If there is, on the side there, just with your hands, just push it down, okay? Now, for the purposes of this today, I'm not going to use a piping nozzle. The reason I'm not using a piping nozzle is because we haven't got to that yet, and you might not have one. So I've just cut the bottom of that off, and then let's do it on this one here. Just going to go all the way around, back up on top, and lift, okay? And then you can just push that back down on there, alright? So we're going to do that again. Twist the top of your piping bag or whatever you're using so that you've got force, okay? Starting to come out there. And then push down all the way around and come up, alright? Now, I'm not 100% sure if you can completely see what I'm doing, so let me zoom in and show you. Right, that's better. You can see more then. So I've got this here at the front, right? Twist until it starts pushing it out towards the bottom. There we go, okay? Take one of your cupcakes. Come in from the top. Keep pushing with all your strength that you've got here on the top end. Just follow it around. Here, just push down and lift, okay? Right, one more. Let's move this out of the way. Okay, and twist. Keep twisting. Okay, hold the bag like this. Oh, hold the bag like this, and you're pushing down with your thumb and the top end of your hand. And we're gonna go around, push down in the middle and lift. And there we go. We've got some lovely little buttercream swirls on the top of your cake. So I think I've probably got enough for one more. Push down, all the way around. Push and lift. There we are, perfect. Right, okay, so that is your vanilla cupcakes and your vanilla buttercream. I'm just going to, I can hold this now, so we're going to get these off straight away. And pop these onto the tops. Here. Always important, this part, otherwise you are going to lose some of the liners. Try and fit them all in. Right, and that is your chocolate ones as well. They've cooled really quickly. So let's take one of these. Still warm. There we are. And we'll open this one out here. Oh, the steam's coming out of that. And that's got a very different look, okay? It's because of the oil, and that is so smooth. These are just my family favourite. They adore these chocolate cupcakes, okay? So I'm gonna put those there over on the side. And then you've also got your chocolate buttercream, which you can do the very same thing with. So again, into your piping bag, into the glass, use those very same techniques, and make sure then that you just pipe around the top. If you don't like dome, and some of them are a little bit too domed, you can just cut that top part off, but I actually really quite like that. So you've done really well today. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope part one of this Beginner's Bakers has been helpful for you, and that you've got some lovely bakes. Let me know what you think of them. Maybe send me a few pictures, and so I can see how you've got on, and if you have any questions, I am here. Just drop it in the comments box and I will get back to you and we can work through it together. And other than that, I will see you on week 2 next week. See you soon. Take care. Bye bye.